video game audio. Audio in video games can be a very powerful thing, can't it? Now, in the past, there have been loads of great console boot-up screen themes. You know, for example, let's just take the Nintendo GameCube, for instance, you know, with its, with the... But if the younger years of your life were anything like mine, then that orgasmically euphoric noise of the PS1 boot-up screen dominated your childhood. At its time, the PS1 was pushed as the absolute best possible disc home-based video game system of that time, what with it being much cheaper than the Sega Saturn, more technically advanced and easier to develop for. And the Sega CD was just... And so, Sony wanted to show absolutely everybody that they meant fucking business and that they were serious with that epic boot-up screen. It was almost like it was saying, yeah, the audio in this console is high fucking quality, and there's fucking tons of it in all of our games for it. And if you plug this into a surround sound, the bass in the fucking intro will make you shit yourself. And because of that lovely increased disc space that not many people had for the quality and quantity of the music, in my opinion, this led to some of the greatest soundtracks of all time. Not just on the PS1, but just of all time. And, you know, I tried picking 10 of my favourite PS1 soundtracks, but it was near fucking impossible and I had to do another fucking top 20. I know, I can't decide anything. Now please do keep in mind that I'm going to try my hardest to keep this list to one game per franchise, and also I'm going to try and avoid all of these licensed soundtracks from professional bands that have already played the songs, like compilation soundtracks. So stuff like Wipeout 2097, Tony Hawk's games, and like dancing stage games. I'm afraid you don't count.
Dude, you're talking about video game soundtracks?
Yeah, Balrog, I am.
Oh man, I've wanted to talk about video game soundtracks for so long. I mean, Nintendo had some of the best stuff out there.
Wait. Balrog, I'm not talking about Nintendo.
Oh. Really?
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I think Nintendo have created some of the best soundtracks that gaming has ever seen in our lives. I mean, Mario Galaxy, anyone? But you know what? I also think that there are plenty of Nintendo-based soundtrack favourite top 10 lists out there already on the internet. So you know what? I think the PS1 needs a little bit more love.
But Caddy, what about poor Nintendo? What about poor Froakie?
Fuck off, Blarg.
Fine then, forget you.
Number 20 goes to a series that I've never actually talked about on this channel before, Gex. More specifically, Gex Deep Cover Gecko. This soundtrack is one that just has that indescribable platformer bounce to it. It's got so much energy, character, and identity for every theme stage that you could name the exact type of game and level it is just by listening to a few seconds of one track of it. And since this is a game based around jumping into TV channels, it has some really strikingly different platform stage themes that occasionally escape the safe norms of platformer stages, meaning some tracks feel completely of its own amongst every other platformer out there that has ice and lava levels, for example. It's nice and fresh, and it's also very good stuff. Number 19 belongs to a very underrated game in my opinion, or at least nowhere near recognized for the soundtrack that it has. Bugs Bunny and Taz Time Busters. Time is in the name, so predictably this soundtrack is comprised of fantastically atmospheric and strongly melodic yet ambient pieces for each time period. There's so much acoustic and digital instrumental flavor, and there's so much atmospheric depth to the tracks here that it almost feels like it does not belong in a Looney Tunes game. To be only able to play you a preview of one piece from this soundtrack does not give it justice whatsoever, but I'll hope you check out the soundtrack yourselves one day and see what I mean. Now, how can I talk about PS1 music and not mention PaRappa the Rapper? Obviously, he's a rapper, so rapping in this game is a given, and you must rap your way through 6 different songs with entirely different feels, rhythms, and even genres. Yeah, even though each stage is a rap song, every song has a completely different pulse with different speeds and instrumental textures to give them all a very unique style. It kind of makes you feel like you can rap to anything, really. So Youngtown, I hope you're watching this because you better fucking do it. It's catchy, incredibly addictive, the lyrics are hilariously cheesy, nonsensical, and oftentimes downright awful, and the precisely rhythmic button-tapping freestyle gameplay complements it all perfectly. Jamalami was awesome too, but I'm sorry, this will always remain my favy.
Alright, we're here, just sitting in the car. I want you to show me if you can get far. Step on the gas.
Step on the gas.
Step on the brakes.
Step on the brakes.
Now step on the gas.
Step on the gas.
When I say boom, 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 you say bam, bam, bam. No pause in between. Come on, let's jam. Step on the gas.
Step on the gas.
Step on
Number 17 goes to an utterly fantastic game and debatably the best of the original trilogy, Resident Evil 2. Where the original Resi soundtrack is entirely built around heightening the tension and horror of the situation, Resi 2 does that as well, but instead squeezes all of its dark, synthy juices into the glass of loneliness. The tracks here want you to feel the sinister loneliness and utter weight and uneasiness of the whole game so much to a point of even having the save room theme, that is, the safest area of the game, still have a dark and unsettling track to accompany it, subtly reminding you that you are never out of the horror. This is a foreboding, lonely, empty, and beautifully constructed game here, with a foreboding, lonely, empty, and beautifully constructed soundtrack to accompany it. Number 16 may belong to one of my favorite PS1 games ever made, but still I'm going to stick the original Metal Gear Solid soundtrack at number 16. This is an extremely memorable soundtrack we have here, using the musical theory of leitmotif to make sure all of its instruments or digital sounds that you hear perfectly match with every environment you stealth your way through. Meaning, in this case, usage of lots of strong metallic beats and dark reverberated choirs to create a mood that's epic and encouraging, yet also incredibly suspenseful and ungodly dangerous. And the transition from this askew, slightly suspicious safety until the first time you get spotted perfectly illustrates what I mean. The music placement is weaved so brilliantly into this game you can't even believe it, really. Not to mention, it's cinematic as all hell, which from that point onwards became a staple of the Metal Gear Solid soundtracks to date. Hey look, Tomb Raider is at number 15, and it should be. This is a damn fine soundtrack. A soundtrack that is almost entirely string, woodwind, and choir-based to increase the mystery of the tombs you explore. A soundtrack that manages to take so many situations and circumstances and then decorate them all into memorable set pieces. A soundtrack that turns picking up a secret health pack into an event. A soundtrack that rarely uses any percussion whatsoever and yet still manages to drastically intensify the smallest of battles into terrifying encounters. This is what Tomb Raider will always sound like to me. Eerie, mysterious, and tense, yet calming, peaceful, and delicate, probably symbolic of Lara's character herself. And as high quality as the reboot of Tomb Raider is, I just wish that they would start using a little bit more subtlety and mystery to the pieces instead of just going all out action on us. As far as the original soundtrack goes, I get chills up my spine every time I hear it, and I'm sure that some of you in the audience probably do as well. Number 14 goes to Ape Escape, one of the few soundtracks I can name that's driving, upbeat, and completely insane in some parts, yet memorable in every single stage, with equally catchy melodies and very intricate techno, trance, drum and bass fueled backing samples and loops to create something that really puts you in the mood to save the world. Match that against the sound effects and it just becomes overly satisfying and punchy musical bliss. Also, the genre of the music never actually changes throughout the whole game, yet each track still manages to thematically present itself completely differently, completely uniquely, and completely memorably. I really haven't got much more to say about it. It's fucking awesome. Impressive stuff there, guys. A Bug's Life. How all the critics hated you. I just so happen to like this game, actually. Not love it by any means, but I really do like it. But if you were to ask me anything that I did love about this game, however, I'd tell you that it's the soundtrack. If you ask me, this is one of the best representations of musically emulating the feeling of a quest. But not any kind of quests like the Legend of Zelda kind of quests. I mean quests that may seem very small and insignificant to you and me, but huge to an ant. And this soundtrack fits traveling through death-defying woodlands, underground tunnels, and city street dirt absolutely fantastically. Every high, every low, every treacherous path, every murderous creature, every secluded safe haven, it's all expressed in the woodwind and percussion orchestra via more leitmotif that I mentioned earlier to create some of the most surprisingly epic tracks on the PS1. Also, the pure, raw feel behind the players on the rhythmic percussion patterns makes for some hypnotic and pretty awesome beats. Oh lord, I've got to be honest, picking between Medievil 1 and 2 for this list was unbelievably tricky, but in the end, I went with Medievil 2 for the pure fact that I found it more memorable. Both Medievil 1 and 2 have equally epically constructed and gothically orchestrated deathly soundtracks, but Medievil 2 has much more charm and character to the pieces. It feels a little bit more theatric, which fits the whole idea of a dead soldier coming back to life with no eye and he's a skeleton and he throws his own arm like a boomerang pretty damn perfectly. It simply did what a sequel should have done and just expanded tenfold on what the original had accomplished, keeping the dark gothic undertones, but adding a lot more melodies and styles to accentuate it all. It aimed for a multitude of moods and emotions, and so, fortuitously, it managed to inherently create a crap ton more memorable themes for every area. As the Greasy Gamer once said, every single piece feels like a timeless tale of its own. And you know what? I couldn't put it any better myself. Couldn't agree anymore. And just missing out on the number 10 spot is Tekken 2. If you ask me, this is the greatest fighting game soundtrack that has ever existed. Ever. Not just because there are 2 versions of every track in the game, but also because they are all brilliant. Well, in all honesty, the remixes are where it's really at, but it's all brilliant. This is a soundtrack that literally rips you out of the living room and throws you into a real life or death tournament. And the sheer buzz that you get from this music when you're battling your friends or battling the computer players in the arcade mode is just indescribable. It makes you feel like you are in the arcade in the 90s playing it for the first time. It's bombastic and it's huge, and every possible aura for whatever fighting mood you're in is fully covered. silly beach songs, brooding forest songs, church hall songs, neon rooftop songs, calm mountain songs. I mean, every single track here is memorable and incredible to a point of you not giving a shit where you're fighting anymore and just standing around and taking all the music in. They become part of the stage, and it makes every environment an aggressive joy to battle in, which I feel like a lot of fighting games nowadays, even Tekken itself, seem to have completely forgotten about. As far as Tekken 2 goes though, I must say, I do feel Tekken in by this game every time I hear it. Because it sounds like Taken Liam Neeson.
And there you have it, everyone, my top 20 to 11 favourite PS1 soundtracks of all time. And also I thought I'd do something a little bit different with this top 10 or top 20, whatever you want to call it, and I've also linked you YouTube playlists to all of the soundtracks I talked about, not in any order, because then otherwise what would be the point of watching the video? There'll be alphabetical in there, but yeah, they're all there for your convenient listening pleasure. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please stay tuned for the top 10, because here's a little secret. I'm actually going to get that video done in a few days after this one. Yes, I'm still making some videos on Did You Know Gaming's channel right now with the Mario Easter egg hunting stuff, so my schedule has been completely taken up, and that's why I've been uploading every 2 weeks on this channel instead of every week, because I'm alternating between both channels. But either way, I figured that you guys were being incredibly friggin' patient with me, and I wanted to show how much I appreciated that, so consider this my gift to you for being so patient, everybody. I'm gonna get the top 10 of this list done in the next few days instead of within the next 2 weeks. So I hope that's okay. I figured I'd get the next video done insanely much fucking faster than usual, because I just really wanted to show how appreciative I am that you've been very patient with me jumping between both channels. It does mean a lot to me. Thank you very much. So, yep, get ready for the top 10, I guess. And until then, if it's your birthday today or watching this video, then happy frickin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful.
Hello there everybody, and thanks so much for watching, but before I go, I just wanted to let you know a little something. The guys at Games Grabber informed me that they managed to get their hands on some special keys for 3 amazing Batman games, and they're actually 15% cheaper than they are on Steam right this second. So if you look in the link in the description, which should be in there somewhere, you'll be able to go straight to my Games Grabber collection and buy them yourself. Remember, they are 15% cheaper than they are on Steam, and also, there's a limited amount of them to go around, so don't miss out on this. You'd be a fool to miss out on it. A fool! A fool, I tell you! Subscribe. And after that, hello again everybody, and thank you so much for watching my top 20 to 11 favorite PS1 game soundtracks. If you want to follow me on Facebook or Twitter or Twitch or anything like that, it's all gonna be in the description, so go and have a look down there. And before I go, I just want to give a huge thank you to the top donators on my Patreon page, because you guys have been showing me incredible support over the last couple of weeks. So I just want to give a shout out to Nicole Ganara, Harry Gaynor, Tony Pierce, Mohammed Al-Sali, Ivan Strand, James Newman, Greg Black, Abdullah Almana, Nick Marchenko, a YouTuber called Darkest Side of Me 101, Benjamin Peasley, Ahmed Al-Mutawa, Alan Anger, Delmar Mullins, Kylie McKinnon, Andrew Hernandez, and Christopher Miller. You guys, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for all the incredible support you show me, and thank every one of you at home for watching this video. You have been amazing in your own right, and none of this would have happened without anybody, so thank you so much for watching. It means the world to me, and get ready for part 2 in a few days, guys. Hope to see you next time. See you later.
Oh, fine then, be that way.